as I look at what kind of startup I'm going to be building, one thing that I keep coming back to is what the company culture would look like. In other words, when people are employed into the company, how do I want them to perceive their kind of career, their ambitions, what they're trying to achieve? And I've been reading some books on this, and I've been learning. I team lead within one of my clients' companies at the moment, and that's cool. I don't control the company culture though, because I'm a contractor, so I'm kind of using that and reflecting on my own experiences of like, what would I want to build that it creates a desirable working environment for people to join. And what I keep circling back to is there's this concept of rock star employees. I'm going to probably change your definition based on the book that I've just read. I'm going to change your definition of what you probably think a rock star employee is. Rock star is like someone who's like, throws caution to the wind, just kind of goes at it and kind of takes the leadership and is going up the ranks, the promotions, all that. But actually, let's redefine that. Rock star. Let's focus on the word rock. These are employees who are just solid performers. These are employees who are quite happy to come in every day, do their job, and go home at the end of the day, and then live their life. Right. The real solid, embedded backbone of the workforce, and then you've got the shooting stars. These are the ones who come in with lots of ambition, who want to go up the ranks, who want to motivate, who want to inspire, and all of that. And I probably fall into the shooting star kind of category. When I used to work for IBM, I was definitely not acting in that way. I was too young in my career to really understand how much power and control I had in terms of the participation I had within my team and my department and the company as a whole. I didn't understand it. I wasn't confident enough, and I was but out of that, in the job I moved to and the work I do now, I don't like sitting still. I'm very ambitious. At the end of the day, I consider myself a tech entrepreneur, not an employee. I'm employed by my own company, so I'm not really an employee. I run my own company. So. But if I was employed, I would certainly be on that trajectory to move fast. But it's okay to have both. In fact, teams should have a mixture of both. You don't want too many rock stars, people who, the status quo is always there because, and in 6 months, 12 months, nothing really kind of changes and you're not really reactive to the changes of what the company needs. But then have too many on the other side and they start competing for that next promotion or getting the attention, and then you start rewarding behaviors that you don't want in your company. So I've been thinking of this. When I build a company, the culture needs a mixture of both. What that ratio is, I don't know at this stage. But where I'm trying to get my head around is like, well, what motivates? I know what motivates the shooting stars, ones who want to kind of promotions motivate them, reward, financial reward, all of these things. But the rock stars, the easiest thing to motivate someone you have is money. Because if the company can afford more money, you can pay people more and they feel like, yes, I'm getting progression in my career. But actually, I kind of feel like that's not the correct thing. I think money should be used as a recognition of the work that they do, not as a driver of the work that they do. In other words, you'll get more money if you do this. And it's like, no, you deserve the money because you are providing this value to the company. So I think of money in that sense. Not everybody will probably agree with that, and that's fine. Money can be a strong motivator for some, but for others, maybe not. Because I take the view that it's a short-term fix, but ultimately, if that's the only thing that motivates, it's kind of like an expensive way to motivate your team. So the question is, what motivates a team to think beyond the scope of the norm? In other words, not play to the lowest common denominator of what the team can perform at, and actually challenge the team to move up. And the things that I've learned is really first recognizing that employees are happy just doing their job for certain kinds of employees. And you need to know who on your team are those people and who need the carrot to drive them up the kind of motivation train. But how do you take an employee who is happy doing what they're doing, but how do you get them to do more? Because maybe what they're doing is actually underperforming. And as projecting what I'll be like as a company owner, like the last thing you want is to be a small company and have people underperforming, because you can't really afford to support that. Yeah, you're going to get it in the big companies. It's kind of inevitable. But when you're a small company, it's really critical to make sure you don't have that. So the approach that I've been thinking that I would love to take is really managing people out of the company, but not the way you think. Managing people out of the company is a case of like, okay, I'm going to restructure things so that your job becomes so intolerable that you're just going to look for another job elsewhere. That's called natural wastage, or something that, well, actually natural waste is where you don't replace employees who leave. I think maybe it's just called managing them out of the company. No, but what I mean is making their job so good that they outgrow your company. This is where I want to get to. I want my employees to become so valuable that they become better than what my company can give them. My job then is to make sure that they don't want to leave and that they want to keep providing value to the mission of the company. But I just have this feeling I'd rather have an employee who would give us 12 months of really excellent work and then leave because they can earn twice as much at the next company, than have an employee who stays with us for 6 years performing below average. Now, the question I'm really yet to answer is, how do you, can you do that? Can you give an employee that path? And I want to believe yes. I don't think it'll work 100% of the time, but even if you got as close to that as possible, then that's a net win. And the way to do that is really understand the subtleties of what makes employees happy. Now, I've been an employee. I've worked for big enterprise companies. I've worked for small companies. I've been team leader. I've got real experience that I can reflect on at what has made me happy and what has made me unhappy. And it's very subtle. There are simple things like rewarding people for the effort that they've really put in. Definitely not rewarding people as a blanket. Oh, and we've got to thanks so-and-so for this, when it turns out that they didn't really do anything. That would actually make them feel worse. You've got to really understand the dynamics of handling delicate situations privately, really valuing and taking the time to value your employees and what they do. Being able to accept that you want them to be smarter than you, better than you, that you want them to get recognition for their peers. If you become an employer, you have to recognize any kind of inequality that could creep in, especially gender inequality. For the first time in the book I've read, I understand a bit more about that dynamic. Coming from the book was written by a woman who has who's worked at Apple and Twitter and various other companies, and for the first time she managed to articulate, where gender inequality creeps in and how employees perceive each other. And that's a lot of it comes down to that. How you trust in the process of understanding if someone's performing good or bad, and not being influenced by the dynamics of the team, especially when gender equality comes in. So really paying attention to those kind of things. And the technique really, tactic that I want to take over the next 12, 24 months, because I'm certainly not at a stage of building a team, but certainly paying attention and learning more about the subject. One thing that I really like is actually finding out what people really want to do in their life, because it's probably not working for your company. Recognize that, that's cool. But it could be they want to run their own bookstore, or they actually want to become, work with kids and become a carer, or those kind of things. You might have an employee who literally wants to change the path because they've kind of fallen into this path, but they may love working with kids or animals or helping other people. And if you can get to that true understanding of what their 5-10 year plan is, then just give them every opportunity to get the skills that align with that, because then they'll take it. They'll appreciate that if they want to run a charity or work for a charity, then maybe give them kind of speaking opportunities so that they can feel confident that when they go do that they can talk with confidence and compassion and really amplify the effect they have on their cause. Simple things like that could go a long way. And in turn, what happens is you give a framework for your employees to grow. And when they grow, they become better at their jobs, they become happier at their jobs, and eventually they outgrow you. And that's when you let them go and they can go do their thing. And that's the kind of company I want. I want my employees to come in, outgrow the company, and go do something truly wonderful with their lives. And in the meantime, I get to run a company that is exciting, has its own mission, and it's kind of like a double effect of the effort. So that's what's on my mind about company culture. I reflect a lot on the situations I've got in the work that I do at the moment, and I'll be experimenting with some of these techniques. And really, the next, as I say, 12 to 24 months is to solidify my understanding and experiment with the techniques and see where that takes me. And that's the kind of thing I think will build a company that is worth a legacy, because you focus on people. You focus on your employees. What is it? The book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things, says, people before product and product before profit, or something along those lines. In other words, build the best company, don't build the biggest short-term return. So let's flip it on its head for one moment. You may be an employee at your current company, and take what I've just said. Now put yourself through the lens of the employee and say, what is it that I truly want, and what opportunity can I extract from the company I work for? Talk to your manager. Tell them that I've got this passion. I want to see if this becomes something in the future, but I want to look at ways to take what I want but grow here. I want to be able to be given opportunities to expand what I can do for this company, because I think I'll enjoy my job more, and I think it'll be worth more to you. That kind of thing. See where it takes you. So I hope you've liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you've liked it. And if you want to see more content along this way, hit that subscribe button. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to have a conversation, hit me up on Twitter. And have a great day, and catch you in the next video.